Hi, I'm Jefrë. I'm here at News 5 and very excited that I just got off my segment with MJ. I'm so excited to be here in Manila to share with you my story of all the amazing artwork I've done.
So, Sir Jeffrey, you've created the times in Mega Mall. What was your inspiration for that book?
Well, the time sculpture is really one of my studio works. Was done for SM, and they told me where they were going to put it, and it was along this very heavy highway called EDSA. But I think every highway here, every street here has a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And I wanted to remind people the value of time. The idea that time is something you can't get back and it's named after time. So when people see the sculpture coming by, they can look at someone looking at their watch and to remind them the value of time.
I just want to ask, you had your roots in America as a Filipino American, and not necessarily you started out knowing that you would be giving back to the Philippines.
Yeah.
How has the journey been that you reconnected with your roots?
Yes. Okay. So I'll actually, just so that for the content, I'll just create some of my own questions too if they don't have.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
yes. So it's interesting because I'm Filipino American and born and raised in the States, and didn't really know much about my homeland, the Philippines, until I started this journey of issues where I had things related to my own personal health care. And when you have these sort of life-changing moments, you want to kind of understand your origin stories, and that's why I started coming back here to the Philippines. And for me, when I came to the Philippines, I didn't realize, because I never had the opportunity to understand the beauty of this country, and not only the beauty of this country, but the beauty of the people, and the hospitality, and the personalities, and the warmth of what it means to be a Filipino. And I didn't really know where that came from in terms of how I have some of those personal traits, or at least people have told me that some of those personal traits. And it's really from this homeland, and I've learned sort of this idea of discovering my roots. And for me, I really wanted to give back in terms of my education that my parents afforded me in the States. And that's sort of what happens is, as people leave this country to find a better life, to find better education. And once they've done that for me, I felt like it was time for me to give back and come back to my homeland and share with you what I've learned abroad to kind of bring this idea of monumental art to cities. The idea that skylines can have great monuments and artwork that define and tell the story about where they're located.
Okay, so you said something about monumental art. Where do you gain inspiration when you create your artworks?
So, as a public artist or monumental artist, I'm not really here to create artwork about me, but artwork about you. It's really understanding where these pieces are going to be located, understanding the people in that region that make that city, and creating something special and unique that identifies not only the people, but the place. And that's really the research that I get into to understand that. So for example, Double Dragon, the original commission was to create something that maybe was representing a historic or sort of patriotic figure of the Philippines. And for me, the patriarch of the Philippines are actually the Filipinos. The idea that in that region where we are very known as, from a hospitality industry standpoint, the BPO workers, the people who deal with customer service and help you worldwide to help you solve problems. And they never had a face to a voice behind a phone. And so I wanted to create these iconic sculptures called Bayani and Pag-asa that talk about what it means to be these helpers of the world and honor them as millions of people travel down that road. They kind of look at these icons and say, oh my God, these are a tribute to us, the people of the Filipinos that make this country move and live.
What was your favorite artwork po among that you made here in the Philippines?
It's kind of like asking your favorite child.
Yeah.
It's really hard. For me, they're all unique on their own. I think maybe my most precious one is sort of goes back to my origin story about this idea of finding the American dream or the dream and understanding education and coming back here, which is the Victor, which is taller than the Statue of Liberty, is the country's largest sculpture to date. And it's representing the idea that don't forget where you're from. It has this fist that goes in the air to the sky as a beacon to the folks that left this country many, many years ago, or even centuries ago, to come back home, to bring the knowledge, to help uplift the Filipino so that they can also help others find their same dream, you know? So this, if you go to this sculpture, it's made out of perforated metal, so that you can actually see at 5 o'clock when the sun comes down, the sun come inside the sculpture to show the structure and the strength of the Filipino. And as it goes to dark, it's illuminated at night to kind of show the vibrancy and the color and the energy very similar to the Filipino.
So how does it usually take to finish a sculpture po?
Usually, depending on the process of how long it takes to make a sculpture, it's really based on a couple things. One is obviously when you get to certain scales, there's a lot of engineering involved, and so there's a process there of that. But then there's also a process of the mold making, the hand forging, the fabrication, the internal structure. Usually, you know, on pieces that are 10 meters or higher, it takes maybe almost 6 months to a year, versus smaller works, which may take 3 months, you know. The Victor took almost 3 months, 3 years, but that was over COVID period. The 12 zodiacs, the 5-meter 12 zodiac sculptures of the baby zodiacs that on the roof of SM Aura took almost 5 years, but that had to deal with when they were going to launch each roof. So we were making them based on when parts of the park were opening. So, but it all depends, you know, everything is subjective in terms of how long it takes. I was asked to create the MMF 50th anniversary trophy. It was an opportunity to tell a story about 50 years of legacy, filmmaking, storytelling, and things that relate to what it means to be a Filipino. And I was excited to create this opportunity where it's this idea of a base that's really created with an old-fashioned film reel. So it's 2 film reels that you would see back in the day, that one was acting as a base, and then one that was acting where he was holding the pieces. And that the film strip, there'd be 50 film segments that represent each year of filmmaking and storytelling that connect the 2 together. And it's very similar in weight and character to something of importance like an Oscar trophy. So for me, I really wanted to create something at that level when someone received it and had some weight and had some meaning and story that represented not only them, but the hard work that they do as actors and actresses to tell the Filipino story.
Okay. Very last question na po. What are your upcoming projects for this year or for the years to come?
So this year will be my 10-year anniversary of doing work here in the Philippines. I'll be having my book come out, my 10-year anniversary book come out with the Mega Group. We'll also be launching finally the Victor, the 28-story sculpture that you see in Bridgetown. And I have a unique project that I'm working on. Might be my last legacy piece here in the Philippines. But it's in my homeland, where my mom is from, Ilocos. And it is a religious piece that will be the tallest in the world. That will be symbolic of the faith of the Filipino, and also be an opportunity to become an icon of the Philippines and be similar to world landmarks like the Eiffel Tower, the Statue of Liberty, that when they see this piece, they have to come and visit and see it, and also support the local economy. Thank you, TV5, for having me here today. And for more information, please follow me on Instagram at JEFRE_artist for all the new work and projects and exciting news that I will announce soon. Thank you. And hola!